thank you so much for joining us on this webinar. I'm Dennis Smeltzer, President of TSANet. This webinar obviously is on our strategy update, to give you guys a strategy update. I just got a couple opening comments, and then I'm going to turn it over to Paul, who is obviously our strategy guy, and this is really his show, so he's gonna walk you through some slides. But my comments really are from a general perspective to understand that this is your organization, and where we've got to in developing this strategy is largely a part of where you've been telling us to go, and your input and feedback is so vitally important. We've got some good focus groups going on, not only in North America but worldwide, and we're hoping to expand that this year, and that gives us even more input. So this is how we develop our strategy, is by getting feedback and input from our members. So we appreciate everything that you do for us. Paul's going to walk you through and tell you where we're at and where we're going. So Paul, go ahead. It's all yours.
Great. Thanks a lot, Dennis. So I'm going to start out just a couple of background slides for those who may not be familiar with the overall strategy. This slide just kind of highlights, and I would say this hasn't changed much over probably the past 5 or 6 years as far as the input that we've heard from members. The first is continue to grow membership, adding vendors, channel members. I'll give a status update on that. Improving how we allow members to collaborate. I would say this year and next year, there's going to be a lot of emphasis on that. I'll share with you kind of the long-term roadmap, but that includes a lot of the investments we made in the areas of member web, case exchange, et cetera. And then expanding to provide solution support. This is kind of a follow-on to the partner programs. And again, we'll share with you a little bit where we've had some status updates on that and what we're seeing in that side. So just in general, what the membership is asking is making sure that we've got the relationships, tools, and process that enable you to provide multi-vendor support. So that's kind of the overall focus of TSANet, and we continue to hear from members that's where you want us to continue to invest. As far as the high-level roadmap, I'm not going to take you through all these bullet points. I just really want to give you some information here as far as where we're spending money and time. And if you look at 2017, it was pretty balanced between membership and marketing. As we're going into 2018 and 2019, we're considering these investment years around the offerings and operations. So this is where you'll see investments in new member web, case exchange, solution support framework, all these things that have to do with the services that TSANet provides. And we'll provide a little bit of information today here on the status, but then as Dennis indicated, we have these regional focus groups, and there will be sessions in each of the regional focus groups here in kind of October, November, depending on the region. We'll get feedback both on where we ended up 2018, as well as kind of setting the priorities for 2019. So there'll be a new place where you guys can provide feedback here towards the end of the year. But this is a top level roadmap. And then for 2018, a little bit difference between first half and second half. So the first half, will provide kind of a status update on that. We put a lot of emphasis on the marketing side of things. Refresh the public web, member help, brochures. I'll give you a little tour of the new public site if you haven't seen that, and kind of show you where some pieces of information are that might be helpful for you to kind of message to your teams and partners on what TSANet is. But then as we go into the second half, and this is where I'll spend most of the time, this is really now developing the new member web, with this integrated case exchange, and I'll provide you some details and actually kind of a little demo on how that's going to work. Okay, so moving on then into the status area, and I'll have Dennis kind of comment a little bit on this as well, but I would say very successful here so far in the partner groups. As far as adding more members, we have this concept of limited members as well as open group members. I would say growing open group membership, it continues to be somewhat of a challenge. We certainly had a couple, and we plan to add a few more before the end of this year, but where we've really seen a lot of successes with partner groups. And you can kind of see, I haven't shown a difference between last year and this year, but I would say we've added close to 70 new members this year. So quite a success.
Yeah, it's definitely had an impact this year. And just real quickly, I will tell you that if you're not familiar with this whole concept of being able to create your own custom group, whether it be through a partner program, whether it be in a solution support environment where you've got multiple companies that need to collaborate all with each other, it's something that has really taken off within the membership. And if you're a basic or a premium member, it's part of your membership. So there's even no cost involved in it. So quickly able to use the TSANet structure for you to kind of customize whatever relationship and collaboration needs that you have. So yeah, it's very good. Go ahead, Paul.
Great. Yeah, no, it can, and I would say, we certainly have more in the pipeline. So my hope is here we give an update towards the end of the year, and we're approaching the maybe 600 membership as we roll into 2019. So that's certainly kind of the activity that we're seeing. So then the other thing I would just highlight here is the focus groups. And I would say this is another area where we've seen a lot of success. And these are ones that I would say that the big thing that we're seeing where people are kind of responding to is the face-to-face meetings. So focus groups really started in Europe. They have twice a year meetings. Now there's, I would say, well over a dozen people are attending those. We started India, Australia. That again has been very successful. And all three of those we plan to have face-to-face meetings before the end of this year. North America, we started this year. We had a day here in the Bay Area. We plan to have another day in RTP here in October. And then as we go into 2019, and this probably happened around mid-year, is adding Japan. So that'll be the next focus group. But we do see a lot of benefit from those, both as input to the strategy, input to operations, input to even just other topics, and letting members get together and face-to-face setting seems to be quite beneficial. So we'll continue on that. Then as we go into the marketing status, we've got quite a few updates, and I'll do a little show and tell on these as well. The big one is the new public web, and I'll just kind of show you that. We've got quite a bit of new content here, obviously new look and feel, more kind of modern design, but I'll do a little tour there so you can see it yourself. We also updated all the brochures as well as the master slide sets, and again, I'll show you where you can find those. They're quite helpful if you're going to sit down with maybe some internal stakeholders or some partners and you want to kind of explain what this TSANet thing is, or maybe pitch to your partner managers, bringing on partner groups through TSANet. So we'll kind of show you where all that stuff is. Same thing with member help. So we updated all of that. And again, I'll show you that. And then the last one here we continue to do is promoting the 25th anniversary. So we're doing that with blogs through the web. We'll be at TSW Vegas with some marketing stuff, really kind of promoting that major milestone there. But what I'm going to do here, I'm going to move and show you the new website. So hopefully you guys can see this here. New layout, obviously is probably kind of the new kind of modern ways of doing things. Scrolling is okay. So here's the home page, kind of highlighting the members, the various services, our organization. Blogs still drive a major part of the site, testimonials. But what I'll do here on the bottom is kind of show you some quick links to some information that may be very helpful for you. So the first is this marketing resources. So if I go here, you're going to see all of the information that you can use to internally communicate, right? Obviously, you can just send people to the website. It'll walk you through these things as well. But if you wanted to download and print out the brochures and hand them out to some of your folks, you can do that as well. All of these have been updated. Logos, usage, that type of thing. If you want to promote TSANet on your website, kind of show you how to do that. And then these PowerPoint master slide sets, and these should be quite helpful for you to communicate. The first one It's a very high-level overview. The second one drills down into partner programs. And then this third one, legal framework, kind of explains a little bit more how TSANet is structured from how we create relationships, how the legal framework support that. So these are quite helpful in communicating as well.
And Paul, I just want to point out, so this is available without having a user ID and a password. This is on the public site, right?
Exactly. Yep. Yeah. So this allows you to, just give people links and emails and such. If your partner's kind of asking you, hey, what's this TSANet thing you've asked me to join? You can point them to any of these resources. The other thing that I'm going to show you is the new member help. So again, down here, and again, this you can also get to from the member web. There's a little help icon that's going to take you here as well. But I'm just showing that you can get to it even from the public website, so you don't need to log in. And what we've really done here is as far as the users go, that's really around coming up with a fairly short training, either slide set or video. So here we just kind of posted, we'll call it the default video. It's about 5 minutes long, just really kind of walks through, here's how you use TSANet to collaborate with partners. So we try to keep the training for the actual engineers very short. And we give you some assets to create and customize that, and we'll help you with that as well. But we try to separate that then from the admins, business owners, program managers, and we've separated these in kind of these phases. So onboarding, here's where you're going to see all the information related to onboarding. There's a lot of how-to videos. There's a things that, hey, you need to contact TSANet if you need to do these things, frequently asked questions. But then like usage and adoption, this focuses in on training. So we do provide all of the PowerPoint slides, and this is for all different user types. We also show you some best practices. And then again, we give you some of these overview slides. And then in the expand and optimize, we start focusing in on partner programs, solution support, case exchanges in here as well. So this is where you kind of get any type of information you want as far as a TSANet as a member. Okay. That's really kind of the key things I wanted to show you. I mean, obviously, spend a little time on the new website. Hopefully you'll find it much easier to navigate, fairly clean. We've got the why TSANet really walks you through all the different things that you get as far as being a TSANet member. So if you want to get familiar with any of these types of things, again, you kind of drill into these and see a bit more information. Generally speaking, they come with a brochure. So again, if you wanted to promote, for example, partner programs within your internal stakeholders, partner managers, program managers, those types of folks, you can start with a brochure. And again, we also have the PowerPoint slide set for that as well.
And Paul, I would also, just make sure everybody understands if they want any help with any of this stuff. At the end of this, Paul's got his email address and mine's in there as well, that we're here to help you if you want any kind of assistance and promotions of TSANet or setting up a partner program. Don't feel like you're out there on your own. We're here to help you.
Yeah. Yep. Great. And I think that's kind of it. Of course, we've got information under the about that's helpful as well. How it works. Again, who's on the board, different focus groups, those types of things. And then the blogs, again, is a big part of what we do. So if you want to kind of take a peruse through here, if you're not getting the updates on some of those types of things, here's where you kind of see what the most recent blogs are. Okay, but a lot of work here in the first half as far as the marketing stuff, and I think we're in pretty good shape. Okay, so then moving forward, spend a little bit of time on the services area. And again, I'm kind of separating this a little bit into what we did in the first half of this year and then what we're doing in the second half of the year. So you can kind of see all of this stuff being completed. This really centered around getting the technology committee together and then really setting a very clear roadmap that was, again, driven by members, getting the feedback from, kind of the larger members that we've got. You can see the team here that we put in place. That team spent some time face-to-face in the Bay Area, and we've had a couple conference calls where we've then, the outcome of that is defining the long-term case exchange roadmap, and I'll show you the new concept of case exchange Lite that we're working on. And then this also helped really define the requirements for the December 2018 member web release, which again, I'll show you what that's going to be. And then the other big thing that certainly is probably part of what you guys have heard, as at least if you got international sites, is the whole GDPR thing. So this was a big item, and we made sure that the case exchange Lite kind of met those requirements. There was some issues that were kind of surfaced during the previous case exchange that we needed to address there. So I think we're in good shape for all of that. Then as we go into the second half, we've got a couple of different things that we're working on. And the first is a new member web. And a few things that we're doing here, we did develop a prototype for this, and this kind of helped validate all of the concepts, the use cases, all those types of things with the technology committee. I also had some reviews of that prototype with a couple key users, our board. So that's been completed. I'm going to show you just a few screenshots. I'm not actually going to go through the complete prototype, but you get a little bit of snapshot of what that looks like. Then in the development side of things, this is all kind of current work in progress. The first thing, and not to get too technical here, but we're really kind of changing the architecture of the member web to be an API first based architecture. This will give us a lot more flexibility as we kind of go into some of the case exchange Lite and the integrations that we'd like to do. So just kind of creates a much more flexible base architecture. Then the other thing that this new member web is going to bring is a much more simplified caller user interface. Not that the current one is complicated to use, but we're making it even simpler. And you'll kind of see here also kind of guiding the user through, login a request with a member with a new case exchange Lite, kind of tracking that much better. And you'll see in the quick little demo here that the case exchange Lite is really kind of baked into the new member web. So we see that as kind of the default way of collaborating as we go into the future here. So this is a new member web. Maybe just a little plug here before I go into case exchange Lite. October 24th, we do have another webinar. So it'd be good for you to register for that one. That will be where we have the beta ready, where we'll be able to kind of really take you through the finished product. Obviously, we still be doing some testing, some fixing, but it'll give you this final opportunity to give some feedback on that if you want as well. So October 24th, kind of mark that date. Okay, and then case exchange Lite. Very similar approach as a new member web, where we developed a prototype for that. Again, that's been demonstrated with all the various groups and stakeholders, so we feel pretty confident about what we're doing there. That will be part of the new member web. So development of that starting here in a week or so. Currently, they're kind of working on the base. So this will be then where we got most of that server side stuff completed in August. September, that kind of UI and case exchange Lite will be done. And then beta starts in October. And as I indicated here, October 24th, 10 o'clock, we will have a webinar that will kind of walk through that. The other opportunity to see that is in the regional focus groups. So any regional focus group we have in the fall here, we will spend some time walking through the new solution. So if you're not part of a regional focus group and you want to be there, let me know. Send me an email. We'll make sure we get you invites into that. And then kind of towards the end of the year, we do plan to bring the first members on. It won't be the type of go live maybe that you've experienced in the past, where one Friday you're using the old site and then you log in and the new site's there. There will be a migration because there's a few things that we need to do to migrate you over to that. For that webinar, we'll have those kind of requirements very clear. But certainly one of them will be moving to the Case Exchange Lite, right? So if you have a static contact document today, we'll be taking you through, what does it take to move you to this Case Exchange Lite process. Okay. So the last piece here that I'm going to take you through is the Case Exchange Lite process overview. And I'm just going to highlight from a high level here what's going on, and I'll do a little bit of click through so you can see some of the screens. But I'm also going to start out by maybe comparing a little bit this process versus the previous Case Exchange, and then obviously it's quite different from the current default that we have, which is a standard HTML document that your engineers have to read and then follow instructions, right? So this is a bit different from both of those, and we feel it's kind of a nice happy medium, right? So maybe the Case Exchange was a little bit too heavy. It created a few challenges for some of our members. This Case Exchange Lite really focuses on initiating the collaboration in a very consistent way, and then actually working the case is done between the two members. So the previous Case Exchange solution actually was controlling that, working the case back and forth. That created some issues as far as, I would say, usability, GDPR, caused some challenges there. So we kind of moved that part of the process out, and you'll see how that takes place here in the process click through. So just kind of walking through this works very similar to today. Your users log into the member web and they go and find a member, right? And you'll see this kind of new user experience here, very tuned around that exact process, right? So you can either use search here and it'll be dynamic search, or you can click down in your favorites, and this is going to find the member that you want to collaborate with. Okay, you'll be displayed a form. So again, this is very different from the standard way of working today, where there's, some get this information before you contact us and then call this number, maybe share some secret code or what have you. This is more of a simple form-based approach. Some of this information will be auto-completed, so your contact information would automatically be populated here. So you're really focused on providing the common customer information, what the problem is, and then selecting the priority and submitting. This part of the site here that you see dynamically changes with the priority. So for example, if you had a internal process that said, hey, for priority 1, we really want you to call us as well, that information would be displayed, and that would be part of the follow-up email notifications they get as well. So you'll see where you're selecting different priorities. It'll again set expectations, as well as maybe provide you different activities that you have to do, such as call us to work this real time. So that's that form, and once you submit that, a couple different things are going to happen. You, the sender, are going to receive an email here, kind of clarifying what you submitted, and then the other important information that you're getting is escalation instructions. So if something goes wrong, now you've got information on what you need to do to escalate to the partner. So instead of providing that on the form, we're providing that now all the time as part of the workflow. Just feel that will be a more at your fingertips thing here for the engineers. The receiving side also by default will get an email here, but we do plan to also offer integrations to various CRM systems, right? And again, this would be a different approach than the current Case Exchange. You have to install a connector and get your teams to kind of implement something new. This would be leveraging the native ways of creating cases in your system. So for example, Salesforce has a web to case functionality. We just simply leverage things like that. Zendesk, all these types of systems have very easy ways of logging a case into your system. So we're just going to use the native ways instead of asking your IT teams to kind of implement a new way of receiving a case, because that's been one of the pushbacks as far as case exchange. So default, you're going to get an email, but there's integration options. Then there will be this kind of timer. If you don't respond within a certain period of time, we'll say, hey, you didn't respond, and this time as well, kind of engaging the escalation contact to make sure that they're aware as well. Obviously, what we want to do is make sure a response is getting back to the other member. But responding, again, this is where really the process kind of ends. You as a receiving member are just providing what's your case number and what's the contact details. And this really then makes sure that the the sending end knows how to work the case going forward. So at that point, they receive an email, very clear instructions. Here's the case number. Here's who you work with. Maybe includes an additional note, right? So it has the ability, if you wanted to have workflow, insert a standard way of collaborating. So we plan to explore things like, integrating WebEx Team Room or some of these other collaboration tools could be used as well. So again, some ability to kind of do this as well. And again, obviously, if you have a CRM system on this end that has workflows and things like that, that could be easily implemented. This doesn't need to be a manual click and fill out stuff. This could just simply be an automated workflow response from a case entered into your system. So we plan to do some, default stuff for the common systems that we're used to, like Salesforce, probably Zendesk, a couple others out there. And that's kind of it, right? At that point, the members are working their case back and forth. The Case Exchange Lite is not involved. It's not storing all this troubleshooting information and communication going back and forth. So keeping us away from data privacy and those types of issues. Really, the only thing we're interested in this at this point is feedback on how it went. So after a certain period of time, back to the sender, we're going to ask them, how did it go? And again, still sharing the escalation instructions, because one of two things is going to happen. Either the case is completed, you give us some feedback, either good or bad. But if the case is not resolved, again, making sure the engineer knows, hey, there's something you can do. You can reach out to this person, or again, all these emails will include a way to contact TSANet as well. Okay, but that's kind of it in a nutshell. I know it's kind of fast and a little more kind of PowerPoint. Again, in the October 24th, what we'll be able to do is kind of walk through this in more detail, maybe provide a few more use cases so you can really see how it works. But hopefully this kind of gives you an idea of how it's going to work, and then what some of the possibilities are. Again, the big changes here over the previous case exchanges is being to where it's focused really on just logging the case into the receiving member system, not tracking the activity back and forth. And then obviously the hope here is this is a much lighter weight approach that will be able to kind of move everyone off of the static instructions to be more form-based approach for everyone.
So Paul, I know we're out of time here, but I do want to, if anybody's got any questions, can you stick around a little bit and we'll see if that, let me ask one quick one. So really on the Case Exchange member web version of Case Exchange Lite, implementation time isn't really any different than really putting that contact document in there, just a little bit more work behind it, right?
Correct. And in fact, if today you're accepting emails in your contact document, there's really no effort, right? We have all the information we need. So yeah, the intent here is to make this just as fast, if not faster, than setting up a standard contact document. Okay,
excellent. All right. Okay, we don't have any questions right now, and since we're out of time, I think that's probably it. Again, so important that if you've got any questions on this, or you want to learn more about it, or you want to want to evangelize this within your company or just even have more discussion about it, to get a hold of Paul or myself, and we'll make sure that that you get some attention, and we'll try to solve your whatever your need happens to be. Okay, any closing comments, Paul? Are you good?
No, that works.
All right, thanks everybody for joining. This will be recorded. We'll get it out to everybody that signed up for it. So if you want to distribute this internally, we'll make sure that you got the links. Thanks everybody for joining us. Bye-bye.